Welcome back to this already the final segment of The Price of Business. Can you believe it? I can't, I tell you. It's been a great show. Lots of fun. I got to talk about politics, and you would think there is no business going on anywhere around the world listening to My Price of Business today. But let me tell you this political stuff is your business. And my guest today, here my final segment, Jessica Zuckerman, she's with the Heritage Foundation. She'll tell you about how immigration is your business and how it's affecting all of our business and really our personal economies as well, and maybe even our future freedoms. Jessica, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you've been on the show before, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, I thought so. You sounded familiar, both in voice and in name. I knew that. So what about this immigration stuff?
So we've had about a month now of not much going on as the House and Senate have been in recess, but they're back this week. And there's a lot of questions about what's going to happen on Capitol Hill and what this is going to mean for us as American citizens, for business owners, and for all those who are trying to come here legally.
Well, I listen to public radio a lot because my blood pressure isn't high enough. And so they're saying there's this real fear among them that immigration may be dead because of the Syria crisis.
You know, I've heard both ways. Right now, you have a lot of people speculating that this might be dead till after the next election, maybe even 2017. But then you have Charles Schumer, a senator who is one of the main architects of the Senate bill, saying that this is going to get done. So there's really a lot that remains to be seen right now.
So it's going to get done. First of all, I mean, so what do you think? Do you think that they have enough time to do it? Let's talk about that first.
You know, personally, I don't. There's certainly a lot of other issues on the table. Syria, as you mentioned, the debt crisis being a big one, and these are all going to take a lot of time for Congress to get things right on these issues.
Yeah, when does the debt situation go bonkers again?
I think any day now, basically.
Any day now. You know, what is it now? $17.5 trillion is the debt?
It's something quite outrageous.
And I think they have to agree for it to go higher again at 18.
Yes.
And so that can happen. Heck, that could happen around lunch today.
Yes. I think October is what they're projecting, but really, you know,
if they do this Syria thing, you know how much money that's going to have?
45 minutes is possible, too.
Really, we're going to be playing beat the clock. I think that's what all this is about. Let's spend a bunch of extra money that we didn't plan for so Barack Obama can see whether or not he can unilaterally raise the debt ceiling like Bill Clinton's advising him to do. Heck, there's like 60-something potential articles of impeachment against this guy anyway. Why not add a couple of more?
Seriously.
Yeah, you're not taking me seriously. I can tell by your tone of voice. You think I'm ridiculous. But anyway, that's okay. I'm just so frustrated that this guy gets away with so much, and there seems to almost be a collective yawn out there.
There certainly aren't a lot of people paying attention, that's for sure.
So we answered that question. You don't think it is likely. I agree with you on that. That's good news. But if it does proceed, how does it look? I mean, do you see enough there in the Senate to avoid a filibuster?
You know, it's really good and bad news in a way. You know, we really do need to reform our immigration system.
Yeah, but not with the morons who are planning on doing it now.
But that's exactly right. What we have in the Senate, what we have with this mass amnesty proposal that really wouldn't help the very people we're trying to help is the wrong approach. But we're still going to leave about 4.4 million people who are waiting to get here legally to struggle, as well as American employers who are trying to bring in workers to fill jobs and help our economy.
Yeah, the United States government is the biggest facilitator of outsourcing worldwide. They literally are, because they leave business owners absolutely no choice. I had a great conversation yesterday with a business owner from the Silicon Valley, and he said, you know what, about a third of my crew is from India, and I'd probably be tempted to hire some more here, but frankly, I don't hire them because they're cheap. I hire them because they know how to do the work.
Yeah, and we have the White House now just this week claiming that the Senate bill, the big comprehensive bill that's largely on the table, would improve our employment-based visa programs, and that really couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's getting weirder and weirder. And I don't understand why some core Democratic constituencies don't slap their party silly for some of these proposals. You know, take, for example, blacks. Blacks are the hardest hit by unemployment in this economy, yet the Democrats want to bring in more immigrants that are going to compete directly for their jobs. I mean, how's that even possible? How do they get away with that?
Well, a big problem is this bill is so large, it's so convoluted, it's hard for people to understand exactly what's in it. And I'll admit, I read all 1,200 pages. It took a lot of coffee, and I live and breathe this stuff, and I still don't fully understand what's in this bill completely.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the problem.
Well, you know how these bills work these days. You've got to pass it to understand what's in it.
Yeah, it sounds like a familiar problem, something we've heard once before, huh?
Yeah, it's the Pelosi doctrine of legislation. If you want to know what's in it, you got to pass it. Oh my God, these people are so. It'd be funny if it were like fiction, maybe a competition to Saturday Night Live, since that stopped being funny about 20 years ago. It would be hilarious, but unfortunately, it's real.
It's very real, and it's exactly what we're seeing all over again with this bill. What we saw with Obamacare happening yet again.
So what about the House offering viable, real reform to immigration? What's the possibility of that?
So far the House has taken the right approach in trying to do a piece-by-piece approach. And by that I mean they've introduced smaller pieces of legislation that really tries to get at each of the problems in and of themselves instead of mashing them all together into one big mess. But, the devil is really in the details with a lot of these bills, and it's going to take time and debate to make sure we get things right.
Yeah, which I don't know if we have time for those debates. That's the whole problem. All right, Jessica Zuckerman, she is a policy analyst of the Western Hemisphere, and that sounds like a big area.
Yeah,
and
half the world.
Half the world, and she's with the Heritage Foundation, which is heritage.org, one of the country's premier think tanks. And, sometime we'll have a debate. You and I will talk about the Founding Fathers when it came to foreign policy. I noticed you got this new common sense. The founders were not isolationists, and it depends on which founding father you look at.
That's probably true.
Look at Jefferson. Look at Madison. Those guys seem kind of isolationists if you look at them. So it'd be an interesting discussion. But I always love Heritage's input, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
All right, when we come back, much more for you on tomorrow's program. Meanwhile, make sure you check us out 24/7 at priceofbusiness.com. Have a great day and spend it right here on this station.